Hi, we're here at the state capitol today, and there's a big rally going on for Second Amendment rights. And Harvey Gerwig is here, and he is the head of the Hawaii Rifle Association. Harvey, tell us a little bit about what's happening today and why it's so important.
Well, the national scene is a lot of anti-gun stuff coming, and in the Hawaii legislature we're seeing the same thing, that are mimicking the crazy proposed laws that are coming out on the federal level. For instance, there's a bill proposed that would force you to show that you own a gun to buy ammunition for it. So if you don't have a registered gun with that caliber, you couldn't buy ammunition. So, if you have a gun that was purchased before 1994, you don't have a registration, and legally so, now you can't buy ammunition for that. So what's really happening is they're looking to draw out all those unregistered guns and bring them out and force you to register them, or you can't buy ammunition for them. Secondly, there's a large ban bill that they call ban assault weapons, which assault weapons are not legal in Hawaii as it is, because that's a full auto gun. We don't have full auto here except in military and police, but they want to classify semi-autos as assault weapons. Completely fictitious and erroneous, but that's what they want to do.
Now, Hawaii already has among the strictest firearms laws in the nation.
Correct.
And at the Honolulu Police Department, I know we've done stories on this, people are lining up at midnight to get a permit at 7:45 a.m. and they still don't get it. At least, they can be in line for 9 hours, 10 hours. It's already so difficult to register a firearm. Tell us a little bit about that and what you see happening here. Is that restricting rights, Second Amendment rights?
I think the fact that they haven't fixed that and put more staff on is actually obstructions. That they are not making any effort, as we see it, to make it a reasonable task to go register your weapon, your firearm.
And that's the Honolulu Police Department we're talking about, the city and county.
That's city and county. So we have taken a petition of all those people standing in line and asked the city council, or in the process of asking the city council, to make multiple police stations, not all, but multiple ones, where you can go in and register a firearm. For instance, Kapolei. So people from Waianae and Eva and all those areas don't have to come into Honolulu and wait 5, 6, 7 hours, and perhaps wait that time and not even be able to register your firearm. If you aren't in the door by 4 o'clock, they're going to lock you out and say, go home. We're not going to serve you.
And I heard it's even earlier that now they're telling people don't come out past 3.
I think that's correct. I think it's even gotten earlier. Now it's 3 o'clock because they know they can't process it. And what's driven that is the same thing that drove it in 1994 when the Clinton gun ban came out. People went ballistic and thought, this is going to come out, I won't be able to buy the firearms that I want to possess. And so they went and bought all kinds of guns. That's the same thing that's happening now. All our gun shops are empty of guns and ammo.
Wow.
Because the people are thinking, I'm not going to be able to buy the firearms that I want, either for sport or for self-protection, whatever their reasons are, they're not going to be able to get them if this ban were to go through, which we're going to fight tooth and nail.
Now, for the Second Amendment, for people that maybe are on the fence with it, why is this amendment so important? Why is it so important to be able to keep and bear arms?
Well, the Second Amendment was put in place multifold. One of them so that you could protect yourself and your family. Secondly, it was put in place to protect the citizenry from the government. That the Second Amendment, they felt that if there's an armed citizenry, the government won't then try to take away your rights. And for the most part, that's been true in this nation. If you look at all the nations like Germany, where they brought up a bunch of kids and said, oh, I'm here to protect the kids. Sound familiar? Just saw that in the last few days. I'm here to protect the kids, and to do that, I'm going to take your guns away.
Now, there's a reaction to school shootings and other killings, like in the movie theater in Aurora, Colorado, and people are saying, well, we should just take away guns from everyone, ban guns completely. How do you address that? What do you think of that?
Well, it obviously violates the Second Amendment massively. The other thing is they're going to take away the guns from us legal gun owners who register our guns, who don't do illegal things. How are they going to take them away from the criminals? They aren't, and they can't. So now who's armed? None of the legal people are armed. only the people who are criminals and own guns illegally. Those guns are going to be on the street, and they're going to come to your house, and they're going to rob your house because you can't protect yourself.
Now, how do you feel when somebody says, you shouldn't be allowed to own a firearm because, you could, they're kind of implying that you could go mental and shoot people. That's what a prosecutor in that's recently been featured in the news said. I'm so insulted that people would, try to take away my firearm as if I have a mental illness. And don't you think people have the right to, tell me more about that?
Well, I think if there's any evidence that someone has a mental illness, they shouldn't have firearms.
Right, and that's already the case, right?
It is the case.
Yeah.
The process to get a gun and this background check, that sort of thing, perhaps that should have some enhancement, but not in any form that keeps legal, honest, non-mentally affected people from owning firearms.
Right. So what was so important about today? Tell us a little bit about what is happening today and why you think it's, why you invited people to come down.
Well, this rally is about people who are firearms owners or intend to be firearms owners, not wanting to put up with their Second Amendment rights being torn up and thrown away.
Now, in Hawaii, there's a lot of people that own firearms.
There are, according to the police department, over 1 million firearms in Hawaii. I suspect that's probably half of what's really here.
Because you're saying from 1994 and before that, you didn't have to register.
Did not have to register long guns, so that would be a rifle or a shotgun. Handguns have been registered since the 50s or 60s, I'm not sure of that, but long guns. So all of those ones that were owned and haven't been transferred since 1994 are legally unregistered and should remain so.
And we only have about just over 1 million people anyway.
Total.
So that if you're saying there's 1 million registered firearms, there's a lot of support for Second Amendment rights in Hawaii.
There is. And I suspect there's going to be a lot more here in the very near future with these kind of laws being proposed to take away our Second Amendment rights. We're not going to put up with it.
What are some of the cumbersome laws that we already have in Hawaii? Because, as I mentioned in the beginning, we're among the most strict firearms laws in the nation. So what do you see as some of the most difficult? We don't have concealed carry, for example.
Right.
Unless they decide to issue a permit, which they don't.
There's virtually zero concealed carry in the state of Hawaii. There have been a few random permits issued, some to government officials, 1 or 2 to government officials' family, but none of the rest of us deserve to be able to protect ourselves, according to the government.
But in other states, there's many other states that have concealed carry.
And very successfully so. There are very, very small amount of problems with concealed carry.
Right.
Because you have to qualify. They don't just hand concealed carries out. You have to take a class. You have to know what you're doing. You have to take a test, which we fully agree with. That concealed carry should have some qualifications on it. Not ridiculous qualifications, but ones that are reasonable for an honest, regular citizen to be able to protect themselves outside their home or business. The other cumbersome thing is the registration process. That's got to get fixed. So if for someone to go buy a gun, let's say they're going to buy a long gun, they go down to HPD, they wait 5 hours in line, and they file for a permit. They come back 2 weeks later, they wait 5 hours in line, they pick up their permit. They now take that permit down to a gun store, they buy a firearm. They now take that firearm back and they wait another 5 hours to register it. So now that's up to 15 hours or more to buy a firearm. Again, that's obstructionist. In other states, they do the instant background check, which is a federal system that keeps track of people that are suited or not suited to own a firearm. It's very effective in most states. We don't use that here on the front end. I think HPD probably uses as part of their process, but does not allow the gun store to simply call up the federal InstaCheck system and say, is this person qualified or are they not? So if I go to Oregon and I buy a firearm, I hand them my driver's license, 3 minutes later they go, okay, and they sell me the gun.
And in Hawaii, it's much more difficult.
Incredibly difficult, and I don't think it solves anything. I can't imagine that our system here internally is really better than the InstaCheck. There's never been anything that shows me that it's a better system.
And yet, the lawmakers here are trying to make the law stricter.
this session.
Yes.
So what is your message to the lawmakers and to the police department and to the public just about, the importance, why you're so passionate about this issue?
Well, what I don't want to see is a bunch of feel-good legislation go through that's really going to create more crime rather than solve it. So we disarm the general public, the honest, non-criminal general public. We can't disarm the criminal public. So there's going to be more crime. There's no question about it. Look what happened in Florida. When Florida did not have concealed carry, and a huge amount of tourists, as we have here, there was a gigantic amount of crime with guns, illegal guns, on tourists. As soon as concealed carry came in, and they took the rental stickers off the bumpers of the cars, so now as a criminal I can't identify, did you just land as a tourist? The crime rate dropped precipitously and has remained dropped.
And we see that being the case over and over again in many states.
We do.
Right.
Florida was sort of the impetus for that entire flood of CCW. Mm-hmm. And it's been very effective.
I think it's more than 40 states now that have concealed carry.
Yes.
Right. All right. Well, any final thoughts for today? Where can people get more information about your organization, Hawaii Rifle Association?
They can go to hawaiirifleassociation.org on the internet. They can join the organization. It's $20 a year. You can join right on the internet. We send out newsletters every month that tells you what's going on a minute-to-minute basis. Very important right now because you as the public need to know what's happening. It's very hard to track what's going on, in all the bills that come into the legislature. We focus solely on firearms and self-protection legislation, and we publish that. And on our website, we publish what's going on in the legislature as well.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to more interviews with you in the coming legislative session, which started January, I think it was 16th, and goes through May. So there will be many months ahead of fighting this issue, I'm sure.
Lots of battles.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Leah.